I occasionally have ideas throughout the day that pop into my head about recovery, life, religion, philosophy, whatever it might be, and like everybody else, we have these ideas and we may or may not think they're worth telling anyone else about. So as I tell you my random thoughts, I'm not proclaiming that I'm, well, an expert and authority. I believe we all have one day at a time in recovery, and ideas cross our minds when they need to cross our minds. So maybe it's that, don't know. Maybe someone needs to hear something. Maybe I just need to say something. There's times where someone will repeat something we already know quite well. And we might think, well, I don't need to hear this. Well, hello, maybe you don't need to hear it, but they might need to say it. And when we give them the grace to say it without any prejudice, judgment, then we actually might hear something we didn't expect to hear. Not because they're saying anything that we don't already know, but because we think of something we didn't know that we knew. It's all a synchronistic sort of a enterprise, if you will, just letting the thoughts roll, and we grow from those moments, those opportunities. So long-winded approach to my little ideas. Maybe I shouldn't call them little because that is kind of diminishing it, but it's another thing I do to myself. And sometimes I guess we all do this to some extent, and we think no one really needs to hear it or wants to. And so I'm spending 2 minutes talking about disclaimers, and the human monkey mind is such a thing. But okay, so here's what I was thinking. It has to do with recovery. And so why is it that people say it's really hard to stop drinking or drugging? I think it's partly because the drinking or the drugging is so easy to do. And while it might be destroying everything we think we know, everything we love in our lives about others and ourselves, even though it's destroying all that, and the consequences and the pains of that are significant, but the drinking and drugging is so easy. It requires no true discipline to pour alcohol into our mouths and to swallow it, and to take a drug into our lungs or our veins or our stomachs and ingest them and absorb them. It takes a minimal amount of discipline or no discipline, even a mindlessness, to just do that. Nothing to it but to do it. But then try to quit. That's hard. And the reason it's hard might be a comparative thing. It's like you're just not used to doing something on your own discipline. But I'm thinking the only reason that we drink or drug is because we just want to be happy. We want to be normal, our true normal, the one that doesn't have to think, the one that doesn't have to work to be happy. Our organic selves. It's like a angel of light sort of analogy, where they say in the Bible, and I've heard some Christians say this, I don't know if other disciplines do too, but they say that Satan or Lucifer is, and what do they call it? An angel of light. In any case, something like that, and they can appear just like the truth. And only the elect would be able to see past that illusion. And I think when we drink or drug, we can't tell the difference between the organic self and the synthetic self, the fake self, the angels of light. that appeared just like the chosen, just like the elect in every way, except for they're not. And it feels like we're on top of the world when we're drinking or drugging. I know when I drank and smoked weed, I would feel so good. And I thought, man, what could possibly beat this? And it took, I mean, I hope it doesn't take this long for other people, but it took over 15 years or so in sobriety before I started feeling so good that nothing compared to it. And I wasn't high. I wasn't drinking. I just felt so good, better than I ever felt smoking and drinking and drugging. And there's times I felt really good, but nothing compared. And I didn't need a drug. If I would have known that I didn't need a drug or a drink to do this, I'd have never used in the first place. I'd have never bothered, but you know, we have to find out what we find out in our own way. So maybe the discipline of stopping is because we're in the habit of not being ourselves and we've lost ourselves. And we have to remove those things that are not us. It's like we've built tentacles or roots into the illusion. And it's become part of us. So when we remove it, it's like ripping out a bad relationship. You might love the person, but you're addicted to them. And you're better off not having that addiction, you know. And I sometimes think the addiction to human beings is just as lethal as the addiction to a drug or a drink. People addiction. And part of that people addiction is the addiction to judgment. Why do we go there? Why do we think we know something and somebody else doesn't know anything? And then we feel really good when we hear the things that we want to hear from other people. And it validates our existence, our meaning, our worth, when in reality, our worth was already there in unconditional grace, which is what I think God, as I understand God, is about. Just completely loves us exactly as we are, with all of our defects of character, all of our human misgivings, our shortcomings. And, you know, it's really hard getting caught being human, right? For humans. But we're always human to God. And it's not like God has lowered God's standards to love us. It's just in God's nature to love. And you know what? I think it's in our nature to love too. But instead, we love the illusion. We love the fake us. The illusion that we build around drinking and drugging and codependent relationships and the like. So, in getting the things out of our way that we've created as an obstacle in our own lives, you know, we're walking with the enemy and the enemy is us. And at least that's what my sponsor used to tell me. You're walking with the enemy and the enemy is you, and you need to learn to love yourself and forgive yourself. So, you know, when we forget who we are, then it's really hard to pick it up and start all over again. It's like learning the martial arts. We might feel and we might have this memory in our bodies of how to do the right thing. But when we quit doing it, being what we learn to be, then when we start all over again, we might have this feeling, but our bodies can't comply, or our mind can't comply because we've allowed ourselves to become undisciplined. So take what you like and leave the rest. Peace out. Love you guys. Bye.